Dauntless Stark.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of DAUNT Talks to a Game Dev, or whatever the hell kind of name I'm going to be placing it eventually in the future. I had a chance to sit down with the two brother devs of SVERUN Games, the creators of Crowned in Steel, a game that I had a complete 180 of on stream not very long ago. The two devs, Marko and Dusan Fajler, I believe that's how you spell your name. I'm very sorry if I butchered it. Were gracious enough to sit down for me for about 15 to 20 minutes to talk about the love of the game and how it all works out. So I'll leave you right to it, and we'll get to it. Bye bye. Thank you guys, first of all, for doing this. It means a lot. I'm not necessarily like a large YouTuber, but talking to game devs, I think it's nothing but beneficial to everyone involved. It gets your game out there. It gets I get to be in hand of, spreading the games that I think that are hidden gems, like in this case, which I mean purely as, a compliment, It's no surprise that when I did the first impressions that I didn't have like the best first impressions until it clicked for me,
Yeah, that was I love that part of the video when you just felt the combat.
Exactly. And playing through it
I
again.
mean, yeah, it was a useful video in terms of feedback. Like we both watched it and just saw. I mean, it was fitting with all the other feedback that we got and what we already had in mind ourselves. But yeah, it was pretty good to just see what we were lacking, and some of that we updated in this last update.
Yes, like I'm noticing the tutorial sections, they're a lot more visible now. Oh, there's even a little blurb up here as well. Perfect, because I understood what the chain combat meant, but I feel like not everyone would. But I think this is an amazing upgrade. First of all, to like the visual representation to tell everyone how it works. Good job, I gotta say.
Glad to know that.
We tried to be minimalistic in the beginning, but it's better to just explain it a bit better.
Yeah. Well, I feel like when you're starting, you kind of have to be, right? You can't just throw everything at the wall at once, because then it's a confusing mess, I feel like. So I think that ultimately what you did was like the best. You started simple and then you broaden outwards, right?
Yeah, and we tried to like get that click earlier, so maybe some players would like the game more if they got the combat earlier.
Yeah. Luckily I was playing it on stream and I was able to riff with chat a little bit, but I'm very, very glad that I stuck with it.
Well, yeah, it took like 10-15 minutes, so it wasn't even that bad. But yeah, now with the recent updates, it should be like more obvious earlier, like in the first 3-4 minutes.
Yes, I'm noticing it right now. Absolutely. Everything's clicking a lot more for sure. So, obvious question that I kind of have to ask everyone. What got you into making, to start this project to begin with, to making games? I didn't do my research. Forgive me. So I don't know if this is your first game or not, but, what made you want to get started?
Well, yes, I could. Well, yeah, I guess this is our first official game. Dusan can talk more like what he did earlier, also in Unreal, but yeah, I have a background in just creating some small web games in HTML. I did a lot of them for my the company I work for now. We currently shifted, but there was a time where we did a lot of small mini games that you play for 2 or 3 minutes. And yeah, basically I got some practice out of that, but we both wanted to always make some games that we would play, obviously.
All right. I feel like I can name point some, but what were some inspirations behind Crowned in Steel? Either the tutorial aesthetic, the character you play as, like design wise? Like, what are some of the influences?
Well, the most obvious one, I think, Blade of Darkness.
Yeah,
Can't remember if you mentioned if you're familiar with it.
I've heard of it. I don't know it in depthly, but yes.
Yeah, I think you'll like it. Well, it is aged a
Oh yeah.
bit by now because from 2001.
Hmm.
But yeah, it still holds up with the atmosphere, even the combat, which we originally were much closer to it. Even if you get used to it, it's pretty good and even better than a lot of modern games.
All right.
So that was mostly that, and like gameplay wise, I guess yeah. So from Souls likes, that's some inspiration, even though we don't want to go too much into Souls likes.
I understand.
But
Yeah.
yeah, we like a lot of aspects of
Well,
them.
the combat is already far more interactive than just mash the same button, which is
Yeah.
the bait that I fell into going into, because I just looked at a snippet of gameplay. I'm like, okay, this looks cool, and then I went into it, and then that's the first thing I started doing was starting to mash the L1 R1 button. So
Yeah, that's one of the pain points where we try to
yeah.
like explain in the game that you don't want to do that.
Exactly. But I do think that the combat is way more interactive. It forces you to like a fighting game, right? It forces you to implement implement inputs to like do different attacks, and I mean, might be blocking
Yeah,
one thing, so you do
in
another.
that
I
sense,
think
it's
that
more
shit's
close. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, in that sense, it's more close to a fighting game than a Souls-like in terms of combat itself.
yeah. It's not just mash one button. You actually have to
Yeah,
you have to be fluid with your fingers, and that's amazing. Okay, so Blade of Darkness. I was gonna guess maybe like maybe Conan the Barbarian. I don't know. I don't want to assume, but at least
yeah, that's an obvious one.
yeah.
Uh, I don't know. There's some elements from Berserk that
Yeah.
there are gonna be more, obviously.
Yeah, there's definitely gonna be more Berserk references.
All right.
Uh,
That's always fun. What was the like the design process being like sketchbooks to digital? I'm an artist myself, so I always like to know about like the artistic direction.
Yeah, well, that's something we're actually liking. For the direction, we didn't choose too much, so we had to rely on a lot of asset packs that are just on the market.
Okay.
The character is custom. Our friend did it, and the music is also by another friend who does music professionally. Uh, but yeah, we couldn't like choose too much for the art style. We just have to find what fits our vision the best, and maybe find. We'll also get some custom designs later
Okay.
for the full game.
Nothing wrong with that, honestly. Again, as I say, like start simple, try to make the game, get attention for it. You can always improve it later, right?
Yeah, so originally we had in mind some specific directions of what the general art style would be, but you just can't get anything specific on the marketplace. Like you can maybe get one pack that suits you, but if you want to make a whole game, we would lock ourselves into some kind of theme that we would need a whole team of artists to make our game, and that's not so sustainable at this moment.
Yeah, I
So
100%
we kind of settled for kind of a generic dark fantasy style.
Yeah. And again, last thing I'm sending is hate. Like this is perfectly fine. I'm just curious. I don't have a knack for like what may be open or not. So I always like asking. So again, I think it's a good thing ultimately. How long
Yeah, as
have
long as
you
it's
go ahead, please? Sorry.
also, yeah, I just wanted to say, as long as it's at least kind of consistent, and like we're not just getting assets from like wherever we can find.
Yeah,
So
no,
yeah,
yeah, that's what I mean, of course.
yeah.
How long has the game in development?
It's been about a bit more than 2 years now. Even though we're doing this in free time, we both have full-time jobs. So there are times like when we can't even work on it for like 2 or 3 weeks or more.
Yeah. I've interviewed some other people, and it's the same thing. Just it's a hobby, more or less. You do it in your free time. Full full dedication to a game like this. It's not always easy, and so
Yeah.
Yeah, and you have to pay your bills. So
absolutely pay your bills so you can keep working on the game. I agree for full.
But that also, on the other hand, allows us to not rush too much.
Oh, that's a very
So
good point.
we
Yeah.
can take our time, like just to get it right.
Yeah, that's absolutely. Yeah,
Mm.
there's a lot of talk these days about like how a lot of like especially more AAA games are like completely rushed and unplayable day one. So it's a really good.
Yeah, well, yeah, AAA is another story completely.
Yeah, it's a good fresher pace to just be like the CD Projekt Red actual actual thought process of it. It's ready when it's ready. I think that the industry needs more of that. People are just, I think, are progressively more and more impatient, but I think we need to kind of revert back to just let them take their time, let them cook, like a
Well, yeah,
fine-aged
it's also up
wine.
to managers, investors, and they have to take into account all of that. So it's kind of complicated. But yeah, a lot of them are mismanaged, I think, especially in AAA where they have those such big budgets. I think some of them could be much better.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm glad that you guys are in a position where you can kind of take your time and you don't have too much pressure, other than I assume the pressure you put on yourselves or each other.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, yeah, we have to still release the game, but that's why we still don't have that like a release date, because that's
Yeah.
just mostly depends on our free time. So we
Exactly.
can't promise anything.
If I can ask, now I'm going to ask some of the questions that maybe you can answer, and if you can't, that's perfectly fine. How much of the game would you say is done so far, like behind the scenes, like percentage-wise?
That's kind of hard to estimate because a lot of the game is just mechanics. We did work on this level for a long time, but it was just intertwined with mechanic work. So I don't know. I would guess we still have some more gameplay elements to add. That will make it even more like fun and dynamic. But when we do that, I think we're maybe 20-30% done.
Okay.
But maybe even 50. Like just
Well,
from
yeah.
then on,
I don't
more
ask. I don't.
content and more levels. So yeah, I can't really
Yeah.
estimate.
yeah, you can enter it in like 2 levels. So one is like in the development time that is left, maybe it's like 50%, but in the actual content it's like 10%, because the demo is the first level of X amount of levels.
Yeah.
So it's the demo is currently maybe about an hour of gameplay
Yeah.
for the average player. So we aim roughly to have like 7, 8, 10 hours of gameplay.
Okay.
But it's not proportional to actual development time, because a lot of stuff is already done.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Please. I don't ask that kind of question to put any pressure on anyone. It's just more like personal curiosity. Different people, work at different speeds. Two years could mean a lot. 2 years can mean a little. Like look at Toby Fox, for example. 2 years doesn't really mean a whole lot, but the end product is definitely worth it. I think the same thing is for this project as well. Last thing I wanted to do was like, this is why, like, if you didn't want to answer, that's fine. The last thing I want to do is like blindside you guys, or force you to make promises that you can't keep.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's just our chain of thought. So, like, you can conclude whatever you want with it.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, you said you're still Can I ask what mechanics you're thinking of adding in, or maybe one that you had planned on add, but you ultimately scrapped in the end?
Yeah, well, the biggest one we're planning to add is being able to take some of the enemy limbs and use them as weapons,
Oh, gee.
which you could do in Blade of Darkness, but it was kind of like a side thing that you just tried in the first level and then it's not useful anymore. So the reason why we didn't add it so far is, well, because we're working on the other stuff, but also just we're trying to make it actually useful and more fun, other than just like a cool feature that you see once and just think it's cool. But yeah, I think that's gonna be something. I mean, that's not gonna be a core gameplay feature, but that's gonna be something you can do, and also throwing of weapons. So, and that's gonna be also be able to be combined.
I think
Together.
that would be great because, you know, as soon as you find
Yeah.
like the new shiny toy you want, you quickly get like clutter in your inventory, in my opinion. So being able to
Yeah,
use
so
that
that's
as a
why right now you get a lot of repetitive weapons
Yeah.
across the level. But that's not going to be such a problem if you can throw those weapons
exactly,
as like
yeah.
an open mode.
Like with
So
the
yeah, that hmm?
well, just
And
like the axe can be like a tomahawk. Like different weapons would, I assume, would have like a. If this is too complicated, it's too complicated. But like different weapons have like different like trajectories, maybe. Like
Maybe yeah. We still have to figure it out.
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
yeah, and other levels will kind of unlock the creativity with the level design. So, for example, you could pick up a head and enemy's head and maybe throw it to
Punt it
open some door
like a football.
or something like that. So yeah, we have a few a few of the mechanics to add that will interconnect with one another. So it should make the game more deep and fun.
Absolutely, you know. Is there any planning for armor of any kind? Like,
There's gonna be. For now, we're planning just a couple of simple upgrades throughout the game that you find, and you just equip a new armor.
okay,
We'll see. We might get more deep into it, but for now, just keeping the scope realistic. Like yeah. So for features that we planned but we scrapped, that was one of those. Like we plan to have modular armor. That you would that would also depend on where they hit you. For example, you equip some shoulders and then you just get more protection on those sides. But yeah, it was too complicated for now, so we just scrapped that.
okay.
That might be in the sequel or something. We'll see.
Yeah, I was thinking I wasn't going to say it, but like say that for the sequel.
Yeah. I mean, it is a fun mechanic, but it just
yeah,
takes a lot to get it right.
yeah, exactly. It's just complicated, right?
Yeah.
I respect trying to, you know, go for the complicated stuff, but sometimes it is wiser just to be like, we'll save it for later, you know, 100%. Because everyone likes that kind of thing, but there's a reason why it's not really implemented into a lot of games.
Yeah, even for decapitation, that took a lot of effort. Dusan mostly did it, like almost all the work on it. But yeah, that was just one thing that we had to get, even though it took a lot of time. But that's just one of the biggest things about the combat, like when you cut all of those pieces.
Yes, which I think is very satisfying. By the way, it's a lot better than just like, you know, not to I don't try to shit on the Souls games. I do like them, but sometimes you do wish that you could cut off some pieces a lot more like Sekiro than just like they just like go and they just disappear into like a white cloud.
Yeah, that's one of the things I don't like about them.
Yeah,
They probably did it for performance reasons.
yes.
Yeah, I think initially they did it partly for the performance reason, partly for the technical limitations. But I don't know if they just continued to do it like in the later games just because that's Souls-like, or they didn't think that it would add
Yeah.
benefit. Yeah. But yeah, that would definitely make make the game feel a lot better.
Yeah, a lot more like in a way lived in, you know. Like
Yeah.
you're making an actual impact on the things you're fighting, and it's not just like an illusion for the most part. I do
Yeah,
like that.
that's actually the main idea behind the whole combat system is like you everything you do will have impact and you will directly like have consequences in the battle.
Mm.
So it's not like you just press a combination of it's not like you just mash your buttons and it just does beautiful animations like in a lot of games, which is not bad, but we just wanted to do something different.
Yeah, you know.
So basically, that's why all the attacks are short, mostly and snappy,
Yeah.
because
You,
you have to do all of them yourself.
you know, we need different these days, right?
Mm.
We live in a very, in my opinion, it's kind of unfortunate that, but like the age of comparison. Well, this isn't this, you know.
Mm.
That new FromSoft game was released. It's compared to Bloodborne, which it has similarities, but it's not Bloodborne. But people are probably still going to compare it to Bloodborne. You know, either it be like a spiritual successor or not. I feel like that's kind of unfortunate. So to have something different in this day and age, I feel like that's nothing but like a net positive for everyone around.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's one of the reasons why we're not marketing this as like we do confirm that Blade of Darkness was an inspiration and Souls likes and all that, but we're not putting that in like Steam description and
Hmm.
like when we're making official posts because we don't want to they are inspirations, but we don't want to make a remake of Dark Souls or Blade of Darkness. We're making our own thing, which if you like one of those, you'll probably like this as well.
Would there be a category that you yourself would describe it as? Because it's like pseudo hack and slash. Again, I'm not
Well,
sure what you would label it.
I guess hack and slash. That's. I mean, I know a lot of games are not like this one, but I guess if you had to reinvent hack and slash, this would come to mind.
I mean, it's
Pretty much.
definitely not. Again, not a bad thing. You know, we need
Yeah,
more
and
games.
I mean, yeah, action adventure.
You know,
That's pretty much it.
like
It's generic.
yeah,
Yeah, this is a slash and hack.
slash and hack. That's
Yeah.
actually really funny to put it. Um, I think that's all I have to ask right now. Sorry. Is there anything else you would like to just say real quick before we call it a day for this lovely little conversation?
Yeah, this was fun. How are you doing in the demo? Are you playing it right now?
Good. When I first played it, I went like more parry, and despite just picking up a shield right now, I'm trying to do more greatsword build, just trying to figure out the actual dodge mechanic rather than just like parrying the world. Which I will say, right away, the parry felt like chef's kiss. It felt responsive. It felt like I was actually like I made an impact in combat for doing it. It felt rewarding. So
Nice.
I will
Yeah.
say, you know,
Yeah. One thing we still need to improve is the sounds themselves. Right now, the only good sound I think is the parry.
yeah, and
But that's a plan even since we released the demo even before that, but we just didn't get around to it. But yeah, that's gonna make an impact to like the overall feel.
as one creator to another, I would say, you know, and this is probably not information. This is probably not advice that you need, but I'm going to say it anyway. You know, it's easy to be your own worst critic. You know, like, oh, we could have made the sounds better. We could have done this. We could have, right? I will say what you have now is an extremely solid game. You know, and I feel like most people that give it a shot and actually benefit and play for it longer than the 2 minutes, you know, will share the same sentiment that I do. You know, I'm having a blast playing a lot of these demos and just seeing the raw potential. This is the third interview that I'm doing with a game dev right now, and everyone before me was like somewhat similar, right? You know,
Nice.
so I'm not assuming, I'm not giving you this mojo, but if you ever feel like, you know, the project's not in a place where you want it to be, but just remember that I think that the end game, which I think is very important to look at when you come like with demo with this, I think the end game is going to be phenomenal. You know,
Nice. Yeah, that means a lot.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
yeah, sometimes we do get caught up in like, yeah, we need to fix this. There's bugs and there's everything. But
Yeah.
when I sit down and just record some of the clips that we post on X mostly,
Mhm.
uh, I do realize how fun it is. Actually, I am having fun doing that.
Yeah.
So that's good.
I think the best demos are demos where I want to play again, right? Even if it's the exact same experience. You know, this is the third time playing the demo. After the stream, I post the video, and after I got a response from you two, I played it again just to reaffirm my affection for it, and it was solidified. Trust me. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, that's good.
you know, I may not be like a great interviewer or whatever, but I definitely do have, at least I like to think I have a good eye for games, for sure. And so I'm willing to give any game a try. And a game like this, it was clickbait, but I actually meant the sentiment. This is the easiest, like craziest 180 from a game where I'm like, I don't know if I know about this, to a game where I'm like, I'm not gonna stop playing this until this demo is done. Which, you know, even if the demo was like 3 hours long, I would have played it. Normally I give demos, you know, between 30 to an hour to kind of give me a good first impressions. This game, I want more, you know.
Yeah, well, yeah, that was the point. We just leave you wanting more until we actually make the full game.
Exactly, you know.
And yeah, I mean, the demo doesn't have to be 3 hours long unless you just want to replay it
Yeah,
again.
no, no,
At
hyperbole,
that
you know.
point, it's almost a full game, I guess. But
But
yeah,
yeah, thank you very much for scheduling this time with me. You know, it's not long, but you know, it's a couple weeks in the making. Still, thank you very much for even, you know, batting an eye at, you know, someone of my channel size or whatever. It does mean a lot. The only nothing but positives can come from any creator talking to devs like this. And honestly, I think it's a crime that we don't do it more, to especially to like the more indie scene. Because the more games we
yeah,
have, the more games we play. The more games we play, the more like joyful life is, you know.
yeah,
So
Yeah, and indie scene is definitely blowing up in the past few years, and it will. I hope it will continue to do so.
yeah. But anyway, again, one more time, thank you very much. I hope you two have a wonderful time. Hope you have a wonderful time. Until next time we meet, I hope you all have a fucking day. Peace.
thank you. You too.
Yeah.